Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Cormandy from the Airgun channel, My Airgun Reviews, and today we're looking at another new pellet rifle from Umarex. This one is the Ruger Impact Max .22 caliber. The old Ruger Impact was a spring piston gun. This one has Ruger's new TNT gas piston. The gun comes with the silence air and the well-protected fiber optic front sights, blued steel barrel, fully adjustable, micro-click adjustable rear fiber optic sight, blued receiver. The gun I just reviewed, the Ruger Airhawk Elite 2, had the nucleus rail. This one has their lockdown rail, and it has a nice wood stock, very attractive, nice checkering in here on the forearm and on the grip, and it has a nice raised cheek rest for both left and right-handed shooters. That is very nice and comfortable, and it also comes with their new trigger, and the safety is reversed from the reacts gas piston. When you cock the gun, the safety comes back and you just push forward to release it. On a two-stage adjustable trigger, it is adjustable in first stage length only. You cannot adjust the tension on it. This gun is advertised at 6 pounds trigger pull weight, and it is every bit of that. My finger got raw pulling the trigger on this thing. The gun is 44.6 inches long. It has a 14.7 inch rifled steel barrel. The overall gun weight without the scope is 6.95 pounds, so it's one of the lighter Rugers. It's advertised 1,050 feet per second shooting alloy pellets and 875 feet per second shooting lead pellets. That would be very impressive if it achieved that, but again, this gun is overstated. The Airhawk Elite 2 was low on the alloy end, but it was above the factory claim shooting lead pellets. This one is substandard in both. Unfortunately, I have run out of the .22 caliber RWS Hypermax alloy pellets, which give us our greatest idea of its alloy ability. I ended up using Crosman SSP alloy 9.5 grain pellets. The gun's rated at 1,050 feet per second, and we had a high of 912.2 feet per second. That is way under the factory claim. The fastest shot did generate 17.56 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, which is right in there with the Airhawk Elite 2, shooting the RWS Hobby 11.9 grain lead pellets. We had a high of 792.5 feet per second. That is quite a bit under the 875 feet that is claimed. The extreme spread on the alloy pellets was ridiculous, 47.32 feet per second. Shooting the RWS lead pellets, we had an extreme spread of 13.37 with a standard deviation of 4.79. That was like 16.4 foot-pounds muzzle energy. We got the best muzzle energy and consistency out of a couple of Crosman pellets. The Crosman Premier Dome Ultra Magnum 14.3 grain pellets was our most consistent pellet and our most accurate pellet. We had a low of 731.0, a high of 736.7, an average of 733.6 feet per second, extreme spread of only 5.65 feet per second, standard deviation of 2, generating an average muzzle energy of 17.09 foot-pounds muzzle energy. The Benjamin Destroyer 14.3 grain pellet had a low of 728.3, and that one was much lower than any other pellet. A high of 740.9 Average was 734.0, extreme spread of 12.52, standard deviation 5.47, average muzzle energy 17.11 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. So we're getting about the same muzzle energy as we did with the Airhawk Elite 2 with the TNT gas piston, but with the heavier pellet weights in 22 caliber, you are going to have a lot more energy downrange than you will with the 177 caliber. That's probably the one redeeming grace. Let's start out with taking a look at the power numbers and dimensions. I'll put them up and then we'll do a close-up of the gun. And there you can see the 22 caliber bore and the wall protected fiber optic sight. Much better than the original one that we saw on the Fuel. And blued steel barrel, micro click adjustable rear sight. The lockdown rail, which works well. Their 4x32 non-adjustable objective scope. Very nice wood stock, decent checkering in there. And this is their new trigger. The safety comes back when you cock it and just push forward to release. Much easier than on the Airhawk Elite 2. The checkering on the back. You can see some nice wood grain in there. And the similar to the Yukon in the butt pad and the Ruger logo. And here you can see the back of the butt pad. Okay, now what everybody wants to know is accuracy. I had a devil of a time with this thing. I was getting such good groups in the 12-yard preliminary accuracy test. So I was ready to go out with both the Crosswind Premier domed Ultra Magnums and the Benjamin Destroyers and attack the target. And my first 5-shot group was just, getting sighted in was really good. Let me put up a picture of that. And then my second group was much worse. I'll put a picture of that. And then my third group was absolutely ridiculous. That's the only way I can put it. So here's that one. So when I first got this thing, I did try the center point 3 to 9x40 AO scope off my Benjamin Trail NPXL. And I thought it might be going to hell, so I took it off and I put the original Ruger scope on it. And when I did that, trying to get the IP styled in, it comes with this O-ring that goes in right here in between this locking ring and the eye relief piece. There's a little closer look at that. And I had the same problem with the scope on the Airhawk Elite 2. Both of them did this. This O-ring just kind of rolled underneath the locking ring and shredded and kind of locked it up. I had to back it out and peel the O-ring out and then adjust it up tight so it does not have that O-ring in there that it should. But I had just had such a devil of a time trying to get this thing sighted in. It was shooting worse and worse. And the trigger pull is so outrageously stiff on it. My finger was just getting raw, and I think that was really affecting me. And I was dodging raindrops. It would sprinkle for a minute, and then it would quit, and then it would sprinkle for a minute and quit, and it was just back and forth and back and forth. I just gave up on Saturday. I went out on Sunday and tried to have a fresh attitude. I wrapped my finger with Coflex wrap, which is kind of a porous tacky wrap that kind of compresses and massages your finger, and it's kind of spread out the weight, and it did much better. like I said, this one, the trigger, the safety was really light. There was no crunch or grind on the trigger, but it's just so stiff. And I was just really beside myself with that trigger. And I was also seeing that the destroyers were drifting out a lot farther than the Crosswind Premier Domed Ultra Magnums, so I switched to the H&N Sniper Magnums. Here is my 20-yard accuracy test using this scope, which I really hadn't shot the rifle a lot with this scope on there. Just a few shots at 20 yards, but I used two different grips. I used first the Crossman Premier Dome pellets, and my first 5-shot group, I was gripping the rifle tightly with both hands, pulling it back to my shoulder. In the second 5-shot group, I used the artillery hold. And the same thing with the second shot group with the Sniper Magnums, holding it tight with both hands, the first group, and then artillery hold with the second group. And actually the pellets were just the opposite of each other. The Crosswind Premier Domed, they shot the best when I held the gun tight. And the H&N Sniper Magnums, they shot best from the artillery hold. I think a much better group. And, I still had flyers, and I think that had a lot to do with just exactly how stiff this trigger is. But let's take a look at that 20-yard accuracy test. So, as you saw on my first initial 5-shot group, the first picture I put up, that was a really tight pattern. And I know that this gun is capable of doing that. And it just seemed to get worse. Of course, I was using a better scope, but I think that scope went away. And then I went back to the 4x32, a little harder to see at 20 yards, but I was getting a decent sight objective. I will say that the scope does work at 20 yards, and has the ability to be more accurate. I don't know how many times I shot this thing, 220 times, 250 times, but I didn't like the fact that I went from accurate to not accurate. This thing was driving tacks right out of the box, and then when I go out for the 20-yard accuracy test, it just completely goes away. But I think I got it back, so it was decent. And I think you can see that the gun is capable of being accurate. There's a lot to like about it. The silence air on it, the lockdown rail, the gas piston, a usable scope, very attractive wood stock, and a nice cheek rest. The gun's a good weight, a good length, pretty good for hunting. I don't know if that trigger is going to be as much of an issue, shooting from the shoulder if you're out hunting versus shooting from a rest. But I just had a devil of a time, and I think I was a little gun shy after the horrendous day I had target shooting on Saturday. Things were a little bit better on Sunday, and I did get some decent groups. So the bottom line is, this is gun worth it. It's only $139.97. You're getting decent power, and because it's 22 caliber, you're going to get better downrange power than you will with the Airhawk Elite. It cocks about the same, about 30 pounds of cocking effort. It's something, as far as cocking effort, you can shoot it all day. I don't know, you might want to do something for your finger if you're going to pull that trigger all day. But I think each gun's going to be different as far as the trigger goes. Like I say, one gun, you know, same trigger, crunchy. The next gun, same trigger, very, very stiff. Smooth, but very stiff. So that's something that if you go out and buy this pellet rifle, go to the comments box below this video and let us know what experience you had with your trigger, and that'll also give us a better idea of how this gun's going to be. But I think it's capable of being a very accurate gun, decent power, nowhere near the factory claim, but it's decent power, and I think it's going to be accurate, and it's something that you'll be proud to display in the gun rack. It's an attractive gun, and I think it's one of the best looking guns, and probably a very, very good value at $139.97. It is only available at Walmart so far. If you can't get to Walmart, they do sell the Umrex Surge Max, which has the TNT gas piston on it, and it has the nucleus rail on it. But it's more like the Ruger Blackhawk Elite or the Ruger Airhawk Elite 2. You know, it's a polymer stock and more like a Scout in the rear stock. But that one's available from Umrex, Pyramid Air, Airgun Depot, and so on down the line. So, you know, that one is available to just about anybody. But, you know, if you want the 22 caliber version, you got to go to Walmart. Undecided on the gun. I do think it's a good value. You know, I'm not going to steer somebody away from it just because the trigger on this one was so stiff and had a few issues that really might not have been the gun's fault. So I would call it a good buy. And that's my review of the Ruger Impact Max 22 caliber from Umrex. My name is Kenny Cormandy, and thank you for watching.